Hey friends, welcome to Andy's Audio Crap. Hey, today what we're going to do is an A to Z maintenance on a Sony PS2700. Now, I've had a Sony PS2700 on my channel twice now. This one came to me from a gentleman who saw the 2700 videos before and said, hey, would you just take care of mine? And I said, of course. So what I'm going to do is film what it looks like to take a mechanical turntable like this style and just do an A to Z maintenance on it. When I get one of these in, the first thing I do is I do a dim bulb test. And the dim bulb test basically looks for a completed circuit inside here, basically a short. So if in here somewhere there is a short, what will happen is this light will come on. So let's just, so here's a short, right? This is just a short. Bam, that light comes on, right? If there's no short, the light won't come on. And in fact, what we'll see is the motor come on when the switch is pressed when we move the tone arm. There, it's moving. All right, and of course the light didn't come on when that switch was triggered. So all our circuitry is cleared. This is a good sign. We can plug it right into the wall and start working. The next test that we're going to run is grounding. We're going to just make sure that everything is grounded appropriately. We haven't heard the turntable yet. This is just something that we do early on just to make sure we don't have any problems. Humming will be the normal suspect for a bad ground. And so I'm just going to connect one wire here. I'm going to have it on my diode tester, and it will basically make a sound if it finds a completed circuit. So if I just touch this to the same circuit, it's going to make a sound. The tone arm should be grounded. Okay. The motor should be grounded. Good. And the spindle should be grounded. Very good. Okay. Those are the three main things that you want grounded. Anything else that's grounded is just bonus. The whole frame should actually be grounded. So if I just randomly push my tester in there, I should get some kind of tone. The next test is very similar in that we're going to attach a cartridge or a head shell with the wires exposed so that we can easily get to them. And the idea is that we're going to be making sure that the connection between this head shell, or this cartridge actually, the cartridge here, is completing to one of these. So what we'll do is we will post a connection to one of those, and we're just going to search for it. There it is. And then we're going to do the next one. That's right. And then the next one. And the next one. All right. We know for sure at this point that the connections from the connectors at the head shell all the way through into the RCA jacks is complete. The next thing we're going to check is to make sure that this cartridge is actually sending a sound signature signal out roughly the same on both sides. So what we do is we connect the negative and the positive at the 1, or this one says 2, but basically you're at the K on ohms. And this one is 0.415 on this channel. So we'll go to the other side and we'll see what we measure over there. 0.408. Those are really, really close. That's actually really good. To find one that's like spot on is so rare. Usually there's a couple points difference. To have the difference that we saw here is really common. Actually, this is pretty close. That is going to tell us essentially that the sound signal coming out of the left and right channels is going to be roughly equal. I grab a couple of foam blocks and lift the table up like so. Get it seated. And And whammy. There we go. We do not want it resting on the tone arm at all if we can help it. So in this case, we need to go this way and this way. All right. Well, that'll actually be good because now we can all see in here. All right, we're breaking into the video to thank today's sponsor. Don't just buy any normal old cable or that stuff that you can get at your big box stores. You need the real deal cable. This is a spool of crap wire. This is the best wire that money can buy. Thank you, Crap Wire, for sponsoring today's video. Okay, this is a pretty simple mechanical turntable. A lot of the turntables that are mechanical, like your duals, have a lot of stuff going on here. To test the switches, all we're gonna do is continuity again, just like we did with the grounding and the the sound, the RCA jacks. And again, this is a different, I keep two of these around, one set up with prongs and one set up with clips. So what we're gonna do is test this one. This mechanical turntable has two switches, one over here, one over here. Either one of these can actually turn the turntable on. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna test this one first, and we should get, I think this is set to no. All right, nothing. Now we're gonna flip that switch and we're going to test that. Come on. There we go. All right. This center prong is covered in plastic, which is good. All right, so now we're gonna turn this one back off. We're gonna test this one, and we should get a no, which is good. And then I'm going to trigger it. And there we go. And now we should get a yes. Perfect. Then you'll see that when you test this, it's like almost going to get down to all the way down to 0, which is good. If it's hovering higher than, if it's hovering high, you probably have a bad switch. It'll still conduct power, but what you'll see is intermittent speed issues with the turntable itself. So if you are having intermittent speed issues with a turntable, a mechanical turntable, you're probably, your switches probably have a bad connection in them. I've had to clean these switches out before. It just takes a little bit of alcohol and just some fine sandpaper, like your fingernail file, to clean up that switch, because carbon can build up in those. Okay, pull the motor out. To pull the motor out, you just pull these little C-clips, and these little C-clips here. And the best way to do that is just take a little itty-bitty flathead screwdriver and get in there and just twist it a little bit. They come right out. These little plastic washers sit in there and hold these down against the bracket. So we have a parts unit over here, and I'm going to go ahead and pull the motor mount off of it, because this one had bad grommets, and I really feel like these are in just absolutely phenomenal condition. But to make sure that they stay in phenomenal condition, we use this stuff called, or I use this stuff, I got a mouse in my pocket again, it's called 303, and you can buy it I think it's an RV UV type stuff, but man, it just works wonders in bringing back rubber, helping it to last a whole lot longer. I use this on tons and tons of different equipment, especially where there's, like, you know, aging rubber that can benefit from getting kind of renewed. If it's already shot, if it's already cracked, this isn't going to heal that, but this will definitely make an improvement on stuff that's already in decent condition, but could use kind of a refresh. Maybe that's the best way to put it. This is a good way to refresh some rubber parts. On the motor mounts, what I decided to do was go ahead and take the plastics off of the other unit, because it is in absolutely excellent condition. as far as the, I don't know what you call it, the rubbers. The rubbers. All right, these C-clips, putting them back on is kind of tricky. I just use a pair of needle nose. Just get them seated. And then, once I got them seated, I just take and crimp like so. There are tools to do this. This is just fine. Works just good. Yeah. Next, we're going to work on the spindle. And to get the spindle out, some of the times you can weasel in here. It is a flathead on this one, and what we're looking for, perfect, beautiful. So these things are thread locked in, and that's fine. And actually what you'll want to do is go ahead and remove the screw, set it aside. Now your spindle is going to set free. Not all turntables are going to be set up like this, but this is not unique. This is pretty common. Turn it over, and you'll see that that spindle is now loose. And what you're going to have on the bottom of the spindle is lube, lots of it usually. And this is really old. You can see anytime that you see black in there, that's not good, unless it's like supposed to be black, which not many of them have been lubed with black lube. That usually means that there's filings in there, and that's good to clean it out. Just like your car engine oil is gonna have a little bit of discolor. All right, to clean this out, I'm gonna use some alcohol. I'm going to use some towel and stuff like that. So bada bing, bada boom. Very good. Next thing we're going to do is take the main control spindle off, and again, just using a flathead screwdriver to put it in one of the little recesses in the C-pin or the C-clip, and just relieving the C-clip of its position. Not a big deal. You don't want them flying all over the place because they get lost really easy. And then should be able to ever so slightly pull that off. Now this one is a lubed spindle, and some of them are not. If yours does not have lube on it, don't put lube back on it when you replace it. It is left unlubricated on purpose. I believe the duals are not lubricated, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I'm pretty sure the duals are not lubricated. And then these are not lubricated either. Okay, so do not lubricate these because they need a little bit of friction to stay in place. There's going to be some tight pieces that you don't want to loosen up. Like I don't want to lose that C-clip right there, but to get under there, what I do is I just take a piece of paper and run it under it, and that will clean it up. There is debris under there over time, just stuff gets under there. That's a really easy way to do that without removing those pieces. See, look, it's coming out clean now. That's great. Perfect. When you're done, the gear, cog, whatever you want to call it, right, is clean. It's nice and clean there. A little bit of debris in there. I can't get it out. I guess I could. I don't want to scrape it on accident. You scrape one of these, it creates a drag point, and it'll create it'll create more problems than it'll solve to take that out. Now what we're going to do is lube up everything really well. We've got this little spinny piece that goes right here. It's going to get some lube. This is going to get all lubed up. There was some lubricant under here, but I think it was accidentally there because this does need a little bit of friction to stay in place, and you don't want it just sliding randomly while your record is playing, just kind of easing its way over. So you do want a little bit of friction on that piece. So lubricate there, lubricate here and there and everywhere, and be very careful with where you lubricate. Actually, it's not a joke. I'm making a joke out of it. It's not a joke. It's very serious. It's very serious. Everything is all lubed up and ready to go. So we have the spindle lubed. We have this lubed, and I had to break in and just film to just tell you that, like, when I put this in here, or when I pulled it, there was all kinds of buildup and the grease had solidified. It was actually pretty bad. And now it's just like, it's so freely moves. This is just phenomenal. Just night and day difference. Good stuff. Yes. We're back on the bottom, and we're going to clean and lubricate all of the mechanisms in here. And what I recommend, what I try and do, if at all possible, if you can clean and lubricate without removing a piece, that is best. Always stand the chance of accidentally putting something back wrong, and that just causes usually a snowball effect when it comes to getting things back together right. So I just try and avoid it if I can. So on this case, we have a switch that rotates here, and I can get to it clearly here, and I can get to it clearly here, and I can add some lube in here, as well as work a piece of paper in there to clean out any old lubricant. The lubricant in here is still greasy, so that's a good thing. It hasn't dried up yet. And since it hasn't dried up, it's going to be pretty easy to remove. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about here, actually, get a little bit closer. So this one here, there. So this one here, because I can move it and rotate it all the way around, I'm not going to bother with removing it because I'll probably do more harm than good. So what we'll do is just put new lube in here, and really all it is trying to lubricate the position notches. So here's an example of how the old grease can actually cause issues. So this is supposed to be an action that moves very quickly, and you can see here that it is gummed up. It's not moving very quickly at all. Once we clean this up, get new lubricant in there, I'll show you the difference. All right, here it is done. Check this out. It's crazy how much of a difference it is. Yep. So in some cases, actions are kind of cool to have them slow, but this is your return function. You don't want it slow. So I've worked my way from this end over, and now I have to remove the tone arm control mechanism. And on this particular unit, it's just a couple of screws, but making sure that this goes back where it needs to be is very, very important. Otherwise you'll end up finicking with it forever trying to get it realigned. And so I just put a fine line using one of these fine Sharpies, fine line on the mechanism itself, and then the matching line on the actual case or plinth. And hopefully if the stars align, which they usually do, you just set it right back in there, and then you move everything back to where it was, and hopefully it will work. Not hopefully, it will work. And that's the way to do it. Good stuff. This is where the job just got complicated. I don't know if it comes across in the video here, but this piece is cracked. And if I had to be a betting person, I'll put money on this piece is not available, because there's not a lot of people parting these out. So luckily, again, we have the parts unit over there. We'll just pull from it. On to the last section. This is the last action that needs cleaned out, and you can see that it just creeps along. That won't be the case after we clean it. This is the after. No hesitation, no separation. It's perfect. All right, everything's together. It's all done up. I did not solder the outputs yet. I want to make sure everything's good to go before I do that, because if I have to take something apart. All right, so everything I believe is lined up, but we'll give it a try here. All right, so we're gonna hit start, which is gonna engage the main spindle here, and it should drop the tone arm. Woo! Boy, that's a fast drop. All right, so that's another thing that we need to take care of. All right, let's sit here and spin this, spin it, spin it. When it gets to the center of the record, it should trigger the catch. There we go. And put it up. All right. Yeah. Okay, so what we'll want to do now is go ahead and put the plate on it. Now this belt is a little tight, so I'm wondering, tight belts usually run fast, so I'm a little nervous about this belt here. We'll do a sound check here, or a speed check eventually. Perfect. All right, look at that. Now this belt drive isn't going to move as long as a direct drive because it has resistance in it. So it does carry pretty good though. Okay, so we're gonna hit play, and what we should see is that looks good. It's gonna put it down. Great. I'll move to the middle of the record. Should eventually catch it. And whammo bammo. Looks like it's working just fine. There's a fine adjustment right in here that will have to be adjusted because I think it's dropping a little bit early. I don't have a record handy here, but I think it's dropping a little bit early. So good to go. Very good. Good news. All right, so the next step is to plug it in and try it. All right, here's the plug it in and try it. Oh, so nice. Go to the center, pick it up, set it down, turn off. Bingo! Man, I love it when it works the first time. All right. So now, what I need to do is I need to get the drop slowed down, and then I need to get the output soldered back on. I think that's darn near done. Wonderful. I think I need to deal with the timing right now before I get everything put together, just to be on the safe side. So you see here that the time is, if you can actually see it in the camera, it is running, let's see here, we're right here. This is the one we want to watch, and if you watch it, it's running fast, which, as I said, the tight belt is going to cause it to run fast. So we're going to go ahead and stop it. It's working so nice. I love it. All right, and we're going to stretch the belt out. Now, the way we stretch the belt out is, well, we stretch the belt out. We're going to take the belt off, and here we go. This is how you stretch a belt. Pretty easy, right? All right, put her back on there and try again. And if it doesn't work out, what I'll do is go through my belts. I keep a ton of them handy, just because you just never ever know what you're gonna need. All right, let's let that fall to the side. Put this dude on. Still running fast. I don't want to ruin this belt, but it needs stretched because it's just cruising too fast. I've tried a couple of belts. All of them have resulted in the same overclocking, overspeed, whatever you want to call it. And basically the platter's going too fast. And I've checked the voltage. I'm running 120, and sometimes it'll hop to 121, but that shouldn't explain going that much faster than it should. Last ditch is to take some sandpaper, In this case, I'm using 600 grit, wet dry. You'll see it's black. And I'm going to take off just a hair on the spindle and continue to do that until I get it to speed. So I'll take a hair off, test it, take a hair off, test it again. And basically, you can't put more on, although I do have extra spindles, so well, logically I'd just go grab another spindle, but you know, not everybody has those handy. So if you have it going too fast and you need to slow it down, you can take a little bit off and that will slow her down. All right, well, let's get to it. Turn it on and just take and ever so slightly work it across, and that's about all you want to do is right there. That's it. Not much. You don't want to take too much off. All right. I removed the platter, did the sandpaper 4 times now, and like I said, I'm just taking a hair off each time. It's very important to keep the shape as well, because that shape is what keeps that belt centered. And I think I have it just about right. It is like a hair too fast, but I don't want to play with it. The one thing that is a little irritating about this particular model, and this may not be true for a lot of models, but this one it is. Everybody that's selling belts on eBay has the wrong size. These are way too tight. And I don't know if it's just eBay, it could be Amazon, anybody else, but these are just way too tight on here. Like they're tugging on the motor, and that's not good. You're gonna wear out bearings, you're gonna pull the plate close to the motor, and it's not gonna sound right. So I like to keep a belt that's fairly loose. I'm not trying to keep, you know, trousers up on this thing. It just needs to be comfortable. And so when I say comfortable, let me kill it here and take it off and show you the belt itself on the platter will just slide off. It's not, you know, I'm not keeping trousers up. Like there's some slack in this belt. There you can see it, the slack in the belt. Yeah, that's about right. That's about perfect for this turntable. Now, others could be completely different, but if you want to ruin your motor, the bearings anyways, go ahead and put something pretty tight on there. This is my bin full of tone arms, and I'm getting it because I wanted to show what it looks like on these tone arm lips. They look like a shock, essentially. So you see the spring action going on here, right? And you see how slow it's moving? And that's because there is a grease that goes under here and in there that just absolutely moves slow as frozen snot going uphill. And that's the actual description. That's true. So on most turntables, it's really tough to, well, not most. I will say on some turntables, it is pretty tough to get to that little shock, the spring and the cylinder. But where there's a will, there's a way, right? And actually Sony has done a really good job on theirs here. So all you really have to do, and let me bring this into focus here, is move, come on buddy. All right, I have everything moved into position, and you'll see like right in here, there's a gap. Just an absolutely perfect, almost like they meant to do it type of gap. And I don't think I can actually get the camera in there to show it, but you can actually see the cylinder, like it's right on the other side of this. And so there's a perfect access point for it. And what we're gonna do is just gonna take a Q-tip just loaded with this lubricant. and just swab it all over it, pack as much in there as we can, and then we'll just keep testing it until it works, essentially. I ended up having to break out the really heavy stuff. So 100K is usually all I have to use. Actually, I have a 50K sitting over here because some of the times this is too heavy. I usually start out with the 50, but on this one I started out with the 100 just due to prior experience. I had to add some 500 to it, and it still goes pretty fast. It's almost as if somebody has put oil in there at one point, which admittedly, when I first started doing this, I read a blog or chat or whatever, and somebody had said use 100 weight, and so I went out and bought myself some 100 weight synthetic and added it to mine, and ultimately had to disassemble the entire thing. And this was actually a Sanyo, or maybe it was a Kenwood. Anyways, I had to disassemble the entire thing to alcohol off everything and get all of that 100 weight off, and then buy 100K, not 100 weight. So this stuff can be bought. Yeah, just don't make that same mistake I made. This stuff can be bought at hobby shops. It's pretty inexpensive. I think it's about $10 a bottle. Maybe, well, this one was really expensive. The 500 is expensive. The 100, not too bad. All right, and just to give you some idea of what it looks like, it's like that's how thick it is. It's not. It's like, almost looks like, I don't know, silicone, like the stuff you use to seal up your bathroom. It's almost the same consistency, kind of a dried silicone. All right, whatever. It's ready to be completed at this point. There's nothing really left to do. Tone arm does drop a little fast. There's nothing I can do at this point, though. Disassembling it is, I just tell you, it's cost prohibitive at this point. So I do have it going fairly slow. It's not dropping like a brick anymore. So that's the sad thing, is like when you run into something like this, you have to take the whole thing apart to get to that one piece, to redo it. And that's rather unfortunate. So it is what it is. And because we had to detach all of that, I want to make sure that everything is hooked up correctly. I do take a lot of pictures, so I have a picture here of before. All right, let's see here. Make sure we got everything. I believe this is white. Okay, there we go. Good. Should be the center white. Good. We want to see that number like 0. Should be 0. All right. Come on. There you go. And last one, moment of truth. Did we get them all right? Beautiful. All right. This dude is done. I'm going to go through the final setup, and first of all, I've already put the shipping screws in. So we need to remove those. So this will actually be a startup from packaging, right? I do want to mention that in the video when I was reviewing the clips that I took, when I got in here to work on the tone arm on the underside, I did not film me putting lubricant into the bearings. The bearings are exposed when everything is off of the bottom. So if you get in there to that portion, I highly encourage you to put some lubricant in there. I do not disassemble them. It's way too time consuming. It's cost prohibitive at $80 an hour. It's not really something that people want to pay for when just tapping a little bit of new lubricant in there works. What I've done here is I've taken the belt. Again, the belt that folks buy online on eBay or Discogs or wherever it is that you're buying a belt. I don't know if Discogs sells belts. This is too tight. This just pulls this motor in like nobody's business. You don't want to do that. I don't know what size this belt is because I just keep them loose when I get them in bulk. But it works out perfectly. So you seat the belt on the motor, platter on the spindle, this dude here, and then you're going to want a tone arm or a cartridge. Yeah, one of these there, head shell with the cartridge and a needle. And then you're going to pull that over and you're going to want to be able to let's let it get started here because we need the tone arm lift to be down. Okay, so I'm going to pull it back. So this tone arm is probably lighter than the stock tone arm. All right, so now I've got it to where it will barely balance, right? So now I move this little tab to 0 and move it in to 2.5. That's generally where I start. And we are going to tell it to stop. I'm going to grab a record, put that on, take the guard off, unlock it, and tell it to go. Let's turn on some speakers to do. Oh, listen. Beautiful. All right. That is it. Let's see here. That's set right. She's good to go. I've been playing it for, I don't know, a couple of days now, and it is a beautiful player. I love these. If you're a fan, there's your, there was a whole run through on how to recondition one. So you need any help, just post it down in the comments. Hopefully I see the question. If I don't, just hopefully somebody else does. Gosh, I don't know what to say. I don't watch the comments like a hawk. I got other things going on, like life. All right, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, and have a good day.